They continue to say, how do I stay focused? How do I stay locked in? But the issue here is not focus, it's clarity. You cannot focus on that which you don't understand. You can't act on a plan that is non-existent. That's why I declare clarity is power. You've got to know precisely what you want, and more importantly, you've got to know why you want it. Most individuals are out here pursuing feelings, pursuing trends, pursuing comfort, not purpose. And that's why they burn out. That's why they give up halfway. They never invested the time in defining the mission. When you have no idea what you want, anything distracts you. Every opportunity appears to be the right one. Every voice sounds sage. You begin attempting to do everything and end up doing nothing exceptionally well. But when you're clear, when your vision is fixed, you tunnel vision. You no longer waste energy on things that don't move the needle. You no longer seek permission. You no longer second guess. Your focus becomes instinctive when you're clear as day about the results you're pursuing. It begins with questioning yourself the tough questions. What do I want for my life? Not what's good on Instagram, not what makes people applaud. What do I desire? What ignites my passion? What wakes me up in the morning without a clock? If you can't answer that, you're not yet ready to take action. You're not yet ready to go all in. Because when the squeeze comes, and it will come, you're going to need more than motivation to keep going. Motivation won't cut it. You're going to need clarity. And don't make it too hard. Your dream doesn't need to impress. It only needs to be authentic. It only needs to belong to you. When you're running somebody else's dream, you'll never feel quite right. You'll never feel like home. But when it's yours, when it comes from your belly, it draws you. It energizes you. You no longer need that constant push because now you're in sync. Now you're focused. Now you're lethal. I notice too many setting goals on hype. They see someone else achieve something and say, I need to do that. No, you don't. You need to do you. You need to drill down into your own calling. You need to determine what success looks like in your mirror. Because when you make it clear, execution is a rhythm. It's a way of life. You don't have to force it anymore. You just flow. But let me alert you, clarity takes guts. It means closing off the static. It means stepping away for a second and hearing your own voice. That's threatening to some because it's about releasing the version of themselves that's just been along for the ride, just been getting by. But if you wish to succeed, if you wish to dominate, if you wish to perform at a peak level, then clarity is essential. It's not a privilege. It's the foundation. And then you've got it. Then you know what you desire and why you desire it. You cease playing small. You cease making excuses. You cease compromising with fear because now you've got a mission. And when you've got a mission, you begin moving differently. Your time becomes more valuable. Your circle shrinks. Your habits become keener. That's what clarity does. It streamlines your life and enhances your outcomes. So before we speak of focus, before we speak of performing like a beast, we've got to be honest. We've got to be specific. What are you actually pursuing? And is it worth sacrificing? If the answer is yes, if you're absolutely clear, then you're already halfway there. The rest is merely discipline, consistency, and heart. Let's go. ChatGPT can be wrong. Check everybody wants to talk about success, but nobody wants to talk about the price. And here's the truth. The biggest price most people pay isn't the work. It's the distractions they never cut off. If you're serious about execution, then you've got to get serious about eliminating distractions. Not managing them, not reducing them, eliminating them. Because distractions don't just take your time. They take your focus, your energy, your momentum. And in this game, that is all. You only have so much mental space, so much concentration, so much motivation, so much self-control. And each time you let the distraction in, each time you reach for your phone out of habit, respond to that text that can wait, scroll through someone else's life, you're making a decision. You're sacrificing your dream for a moment of distraction. You're opting for fleeting dopamine versus lasting effect. And most don't even know they're doing it because the distractions are so entrenched. We've talked ourselves into it being just a break, being just 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes compounded over time are stealing from you your future. Listen, the individuals who perform at the highest level, they're not supernatural. They've simply constructed systems that guard their concentration. They don't let everything in. They don't return every call. They don't go to every party. They're not watching everyone else live. They're too busy constructing. And if you want to get up to that level, you have to make the tough decisions as well. You've got to guard your time like it's your last buck. You have to run everything through one question. Does this enable me to deliver or does it hinder me? And I know some distractions are nuanced. Some of them appear to be good things. Your comfort zone is a distraction. That toxic friend you maintain in your life because you've known them for so long, that's a distraction. That opportunity that does not have anything to do with your mission but pays well, that's a distraction. Anything that draws you away from your purpose is a distraction, even if it glitters on the surface. You've got to train your mind to spot them quickly and eliminate them ruthlessly. This isn't about becoming a robot. It's about becoming responsible for your future, responsible for your vision, because nobody's coming to protect your focus for you. Nobody's going to turn off the noise. That's your job. That's your discipline. That's the work nobody sees, but everybody feels when your results start showing up. You want to know why some people succeed and others do not? It's not talent. It's not work ethic. It's what they don't let enter their life. That's what divides the good from the great. And as soon as you begin removing distractions, you'll be amazed at how much time you really do have, how much energy you've been investing, how much potential was being drained by things that weren't worthy of your focus in the first place. Your clarity increases, your execution accelerates, you begin to complete what you begin. You no longer feel overwhelmed because now you're only juggling what counts. But don't wait for the ideal moment to do this. There is no ideal moment to clean house. You've got to choose right now what's staying and what's going. You've got to get real with yourself about what's serving you and what's harming you. Because if you don't, you'll just keep going around in circles. You'll keep getting close, but never quite crossing the line. And I don't know about you, but I didn't get this far to nearly make it. I came to win. And in order to win, I've got to concentrate. In order to concentrate, I've got to eliminate. Period. So the next time you find yourself off course, the next time you find yourself losing steam, don't wonder what else you can do. Wonder what you need to cut. Because the key to implementation isn't always add. Sometimes it's subtract. Key information. Everyone wants to be motivated. Everyone wants that spark, that enthusiasm, that jolt of energy that makes you want to run through a wall and take over the world. But here's something that's real. Motivation wears off. It's psychological. It comes and goes. It's like the weather. Good 1 minute, gone the next. That's why you can't construct your life on motivation. You can't construct execution on something temporary. If you're going to execute at a high level, day in and day out, for days and weeks and months, even years, you need discipline. Not hype, not moods, discipline. Discipline is the thing that appears when motivation is absent. Discipline is what becomes active when you're exhausted, when you're frustrated, when life isn't applauding for you. It does not care about how you feel. It just cares about the mission. And here's the fact. Discipline is what distinguishes the people who dream and the people who do. There are a lot of motivated individuals out here who never act. They get excited. They talk big. They even start. But they don't finish because the moment it gets hard, the moment the hype wears off, they disappear. But disciplined people, they don't need perfect conditions. They don't need applause. They just get it done. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. Most days it's just grind. It's waking up early when you don't want to. It's appearing again and again, even when things are slow. It's staying on track when distractions are yelling your name. And that's why so many people never arrive, because they're addicted to motivation. They're addicted to feeling good. And the moment the feeling wears off, they give up. They feel like something's wrong with them. Nothing's wrong. You just fueled up on the wrong stuff. You were waiting to feel like it, rather than training yourself to do it anyway. You've got to rewire your mind. You've got to switch from I feel like it to I do it because it has to be done. That's discipline. And discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you follow through when you don't feel like it, you're getting stronger. You're getting more character. You're getting the kind of focus and consistency that makes execution automatic. And get this, discipline is not about never feeling lazy. It's not about never having doubts. It's about never giving in to those feelings. It's about having trained yourself to look beyond them. That's power. That's when you become unstoppable. Because now you're not waiting for conditions. You're not waiting for the planets to align. You generate your own momentum and you stay focused regardless. So if you're just sitting around waiting for the right mood, you've already lost. You'll keep starting and stopping. You'll keep making promises and delivering less. But if you decide to become disciplined, if you make a commitment to do what needs to be done, regardless of whether you want to or not, that's when everything changes. That's when your execution becomes consistent. That's when your results no longer fluctuate. That's when you begin to become the type of person who can't be ignored. Because discipline earns people's trust, not only theirs, but your own. And that is what great things are built on. When you trust yourself to be there day after day, to keep your commitments, to honor your word, even when it's tough, that's when you begin to gain confidence. That's when you begin not to doubt. That's when you know you're going to deal with whatever comes at you in life. You're going to get it done. Not because it's easy, not because it's pleasant, but because you've decided. And once you've decided, everything else becomes okay. Let me make one thing clear. Execution doesn't work half-heartedly. Success doesn't respond to maybe. You either do it or you don't. You either go all in or you sit on the bench and watch someone else do it. There is no middle ground. This is why there are so many people who never reach that goal line. Not because they lack the talent, not because they lack the means, but because they never gave themselves fully to it. They got their toes wet. They felt the water, but they never went into it head first. And I'm telling you right here, if you're not all in, you're already out. Half commitment is why you keep starting over. The reason you keep running out of steam, you go all out for a week, maybe two, and then life catches up, motivation wears off, and before you know it, you're back to square one. That's what happens when you haven't burned the bridges behind you. You're still considering quitting. You've still got a backup plan in your back pocket. But listen, success doesn't respect people who aren't willing to go all the way. You want to execute at the highest level. Burn the plan B, make the decision that failure is not an option, that quitting is not on the table, That no matter what, you're finishing this thing. And this commitment isn't just about the big things. It appears in the details. It's doing the little things when no one's around. It's waking up early, going to the gym after you're sore, doing the additional reps when the goal feels distant. That is the commitment execution requires. Not hype, not passion, just hard, locked, and choice. You do it because you committed. You follow through because your future is at stake. Someone will ask me, how do you stay so consistent? The truth is, I made a decision, an actual one, not a hope, not a possibility. I committed. I said to myself, this is it. I am not going back. I am not slowing down. I am not stopping until it is complete. And when you decide like that, your actions begin to follow. Your energy shifts. You no longer negotiate with yourself. You don't ask, do I want to do it today? You say, it's on the calendar, so it's getting done. That's how champions get things done. But let me share with you what else happens when you fully commit. You begin to tap into another part of yourself. You find strength you never knew you possessed. You learn what you're capable of because commitment unleashes potential. It brings out the greatness in you. It challenges you to rise. But that doesn't come until you shut down the exit strategy, until you quit playing both sides, until you become honest with yourself and say, I'm in this 100% no matter what. And yes, you're going to encounter resistance. There will be setbacks. There will be days when nothing seems to be working. That's along the way. But when you're deeply committed, you don't waver. You adjust, you navigate, but you don't give up. You don't throw in the towel. That makes you a difference between people who talk about goals and people who achieve them. The ones who see it through, close strong, and leave with something to prove. So if you're going to begin, don't begin until you've decided to finish. Don't start until you've said to yourself, I'm all in, mind, body, and soul. That's how you do things with power. That's how you stand out from the crowd. You go all in, you quit playing small, and you take ownership of your vision. Because if you won't battle for it with everything you've got, don't expect to have it. Execution is the prerogative of the committed. Every single time, everybody wants the accolades. Everybody wants to be noticed, to be complimented, to be cheered. But true execution doesn't require a stage. It doesn't require approval. The strongest thing you'll ever do, the thing that transforms your life, that alters your destiny, won't be in public. It'll be behind the closed doors in quiet when nobody sees, when nobody applauds. And that's just the way it should be. Because when you're truly on task, when your concentration is laser and your purpose is genuine, you cease to perform for admiration. You begin to perform for outcomes. Notice many people are applause addicts. They crave likes and comments and compliments. They want someone to pat them on the back every time they produce something. So they only deliver when people are around. They only perform when there's an audience. And the instant the praise dies off, so does their drive. Their motivation is connected to being seen, not to a purpose. But listen, if your grind is based on being seen, you're not being serious. You're putting on a show, not grinding. You need to get to the point where the only thing that counts is movement. Where your bar is set so high, you don't need anyone to tell you to push forward. You know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. And you know that the outcome will speak for itself when the moment arrives. That's the mentality of a true executor. Silent, concentrated, unwavering, not motivated by validation, but by mission. Because here's the reality. When you're actually working on something worthwhile, when you're in that state, grinding every day, individuals won't get it. They won't grasp it. They'll even question you. And if you're doing it for their approval, that doubt will crush you. But if you're doing it from a place of truth, of discipline, of real clarity, then the silence won't bother you. In fact, you'll start to love the silence. You'll start to crave the solitude because that's where the real growth happens. That's where the transformation takes place. Not under the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not on the stage, but in the early mornings, the late nights, the lonely reps. That's where character is built. That's where habits are formed. That's where the foundation for greatness is laid. And if you can't learn to execute in those moments, when there's no applause, no attention, no hype, you'll never be able to sustain success when it does come. So stop needing people to notice you. Stop waiting for someone to acknowledge your effort. Let your results do the talking. Let your consistency scream so loud that people have no choice but to pay attention after you've already built it. That's the power of silent execution. It's not about showing off. It's about showing up. Every day, no excuses, no noise, just work. And trust me, when it's real, people will eventually see it. They'll feel the impact. But by then, it won't even matter to you. Because by then, you'll already be so locked in, so far ahead, so focused on your next level, that the need for applause will be long gone. Because once you've tasted the power of doing it for yourself, for your vision, for your purpose, you'll never need permission to go hard again. So stop running after the claps. Stop acting for the audience. Build in silence. Concentrate alone. Perform in the dark. And have your success shine so bright they can't help but notice it. When it finally shows up, everybody wants to go to the top. But most people get anxious trying to plan how they're going to scale the entire mountain at once. They consider the width of the goal, the gap between where they are and where they are going, and they stop. They freak out. They begin to question. But let's be real. The only way to the top is winning the day, not the year, not 5 years from now, the day, and then the next one, and the next. Execution isn't in the future. It is done now, today, at the moment. You don't need to have it all worked out. You don't need to have a great plan for the next 10 years. What you need is the discipline to conquer today. Because if you triumph today, you build momentum. And momentum is everything. Momentum converts average effort into mighty energy. That's how confidence is created. Not by fantasizing about some far off tomorrow, but by making good on your commitments to yourself on a daily basis. One thing, 1 hour, 1 rep at a time. You roll out of bed and you ask yourself, what must be accomplished today that will push me forward? Not 10, not a wish list, just the 1 or 2 that are most important. And then you nail it. You pursue those things as if your entire future hinges on them, because it does. That's how you condition your mind to perform. That's how you build consistency. And consistency over a period of time is what distinguishes the people who desire from the people who achieve. But most people squander the day waiting for the right mood. They discuss what they're going to do. They plan and schedule, and then they wait for the right energy or inspiration to arrive. And while they wait, someone else is doing. Someone else is working, creating the habit, advancing the needle. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to feel great. You just need to move. You've got to adopt a mentality that says, I show up no matter what. Tired, show up. Busy, show up. Not feeling it, show up anyway, because that's what separates the focus from the distracted. It's not that they don't feel the same pressure. It's that they've trained themselves to focus through it. They've made the decision that winning the day is non-negotiable. They realize that execution is a daily struggle, and each day is a fresh chance to move a little bit closer toward the goal or further from it. And what's lovely about this frame of mind, it takes off the pressure of doing it all right now. It allows you to concentrate on what you can control. You can't control the result, but you can control your effort. You can control your concentration. You get to decide if and when you appear and get on with your business today. And when you pile up days like that, that's when folks begin to wonder, how did you manage to get so far ahead? And the response is easy. I won the day after day. So don't think so far down the road that you forget about what's important right now. The future is constructed in the present. The grand victories result from small disciplines. And the only day that you ever need to be concerned about is the one that's before you. Get that in order, with intention, with excellence. That's how empires are constructed. That's how dreams turn into reality, one day at a time. Win it. Then wake up and win again. That's execution. That's greatness. That's how why pain is part of the process, period. There's no avoiding it, no shortcut around it. If you're serious about executing at the highest level, then you've got to stop running from pain and start using it. Pain isn't your enemy. Discomfort isn't a sign to quit. In all truth, the biggest breakthroughs of your life will be done through pain, not in spite of it. But everybody has been conditioned to approach pain like it's something to avoid, something you're doing wrong. That mentality is holding people back to average, because the reality is the pain isn't destroying you, it's constructing you. If you let it, everything great that you desire has a price tag on it. That price is pressure, sacrifice, fatigue, failure, rejection, pain. You're not going to grow without it. You're not going to become sharper, faster, more focused without pressure pushing against you. The ones who execute at the highest level, they feel it too. They just use it. They turn pain into fuel. They take that struggle, that frustration, that heartbreak, and instead of folding, they funnel it straight into the work. You've got to quit viewing pain as a wall and begin to view pain as a door you walk through to the next level. See, most individuals encounter pain and then quit. They step away. It's too hard. It's too much. But winners, executors, they sense pain and lean in. They say, this is part of the process. This indicates that I am close. That means I'm growing. Because pain, once you get it, is a signal that you're stretching, that you're stepping beyond your boundaries. And the only way to grow is to stretch. You've got to reset the way you think about it. You've got to cease your asking, why is this happening to me? And begin asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because every painful second contains a lesson. Every fight, every failure, every no, every disappointment, it's all giving you something. It's honing your mindset. It's making you tougher. It's trying you. It's distinguishing the committed from the curious. That's what pain does. It reveals the difference between needing it and wanting it. And I know it's not comfortable. I know it doesn't sit well, but you've got to figure out how to sit with it. Not leave it, not numb to it. Just sit with it and remain focused, remain disciplined, remain working. Because while other folks are attempting to escape it, you're employing it. You're leveraging it. That's how you differentiate. That's how you create something nobody can take away from you. You got to remember, diamonds don't crystallize without pressure. Steel isn't made without fire. And you won't become the person you're meant to be without passing through some things that ache, that test you, that stretch you. But it's all part of the process of executing. That hurt you're experiencing, that's progress in disguise. So the next time life knocks you around, the next time the process becomes too much, the next time you feel like quitting, don't. Have that pain remind you who you are. Let it push you to work harder. Let it ground you in your purpose. Because once you master using pain as fuel, you become unmovable. You stop dreading the storm. You begin walking into it with boldness. Because now that you know the truth, it's not attempting to hold you back. It's attempting to ready you. You don't grow in comfort. You grow in hardship. And each bit of suffering you tolerate while maintaining your center is an investment in the life that you declared you desired. Utilize it. Don't squander it. Don't anesthetize it. Don't retreat from it. Acknowledge it. Educate from it. Act on it. That is how you create power from pressure. That is how you ascend. Chat GPT can error. Check important info. I'll rise us. Who you surround yourself with matters more than you probably realize. You can have all the focus in the world, all the discipline, the grind, the vision. But if you're surrounded by people who don't think like you, who don't move like you, who don't want what you want, you're going to slow down. You're going to get pulled off course because energy is contagious. Habits are contagious. Mindsets are contagious. And if you're not careful about your circle, you're going to catch things that kill your execution without even realizing it. Allow me to say this plainly: execution loves the right environment, not the comfortable one, not the one with most history, the right one, the one that requires growth, the one that keeps you accountable, the one that honors your time, your dreams, and your drive. You can't perform at a high level if you're surrounded by low-level chatter all the time. If you're around people who constantly complain, put things off, make excuses, accept mediocrity, you're going to absorb that energy, and it will drain you even if your vision is crystal clear. See, it's not always who's toxic. Sometimes it's who's distracted, who's unmotivated, who's constantly saying, let's chill when you've got things to build. That's just as lethal to your execution as straight out negativity. Because their comfort becomes your permission to slack off. And before you know it, you're compromising, you're slipping, you're not pushing as hard because no one around you is. Execution requires alignment. Your tribe has to live up to your standards. This doesn't imply that you cut the rest of the world off, but it does imply that you set boundaries. You become strategic. You choose who receives your time, who receives your energy, who receives access to your mind, because not everybody deserves that. If someone is consistently tugging you away from your purpose, that is not friendship, that's friction. And you don't have time for that when you're locked in. You require individuals that challenge you, not comfort you, that push you, not coddle you, that remind you of who you are and where you're headed, particularly when you begin to forget. You have to navigate executors. Individuals who embody this, individuals who don't simply speak about objectives, they live it. Individuals who are driven, disciplined, persistent, not flawless, but dedicated. You have to be in spaces where ambition is the standard, where dreaming big doesn't get mocked, where hard work doesn't need an apology. Because when you're around that type of people, you level up by default. Their grind feeds into yours. Their intensity cuts sharpness into yours. Their victories motivate you to keep grinding. Sometimes your growth needs solitude first. Sometimes you need to be alone for a season to get your mind right, to tighten up your habits. But don't remain there, because accountability speeds up execution. Support deepens it. Iron sharpens iron. You require individuals surrounding you who can notice the excellence in you, even when you are exhausted. Individuals who remind you of your standards when you begin to drop. Individuals who won't allow you to settle for anything except excellence. So look at your circle, not with judgment, but with honesty. Are they assisting you in building or hindering it from happening? Are they propelling you forward or dragging you in the opposite direction? Are they a reflection of your goals or a diversion from them? Because you can't have dead weight, not when your dream is hanging in the balance, not when your future hangs on your ability to get it done. This is your moment to lock in. And that's meaning being courageous enough to shift your environment. Surround yourself with people who speak growth, not gossip, purpose, not problems, solutions, not excuses. That's the type of energy that accelerates execution. That's the type of circle that doesn't just enable your grind, they expect it. And when that's your benchmark, you become unstoppable. A measured execution is like driving a car blindfolded. You may be moving, but you have no way of knowing where you're going, how fast you're traveling, or if you're even getting there. That's why the people who succeed don't work hard in some vague, undefined way. They track everything. Because true executors don't make progress happen by accident. They don't trust their gut to let them know they're succeeding. They trust data. They are based on honest assessment. They desire the truth, not a feeling. And that truth is derived from tracking. When you begin tracking what you do, your routines, your time, your progress, you begin to notice patterns. You see what works, what wastes your energy, what needs to be eliminated, and where you're leaving potential on the table. Most people are busy, but they're not effective. They're doing a lot, but not making it far. But the ones who track, they execute with precision. They don't do, they refine. They analyze themselves like a project. They want to improve, and they're not afraid of facing the numbers that inform them the truth. You can't improve what you don't measure. You can't repair what you don't acknowledge. And too many are terrified to track because they don't want to see how much they're actually wasting. But denying reality doesn't save your dream. It kills it. Because you can't grow in the dark. You can't implement on fantasy. If you claim you're grinding, then demonstrate it. Demonstrate it Write in a journal log, calendar something. Measure your hours, measure your habits, measure your effort. That's what separates the committed from the casual. And tracking isn't perfect, it's honest. If you set out to work out 5 days and you only do 3, that's not failure, it's feedback. Now you see where the gap is. Now you see what has to tighten up. That's power. Because now you're no longer guessing, you're adjusting, you're growing. That's how real growth takes place. You plan, you do, you track, then you adjust. That's the cycle of excellence. That's the way elite performers think. You also begin to gain confidence when you track because you can see the progress. You're no longer thinking, I think I'm getting better. You know you are. You can see it. And when you notice the wins pile up, even tiny ones, it creates momentum. You don't require exterior confirmation. You've got evidence right in front of you. That's how you begin to trust yourself more. That's how you remain in focus because now you're not flying blind. You're flying smart. And here's another fact. When you track, you begin to treat your goals as a business. You cease to be emotional and you begin to be strategic. You cease to make decisions based upon what you feel in the moment, and you begin to make decisions based upon what the numbers tell you. That's how you prevent burnout. That's how you avoid wasting time. That's how you become efficient. And execution is all about efficiency because it's not necessarily about hustling. It's about hustling well. So no matter what your goal is, the question is, how are you measuring it? What process do you have in place to track your progress? How do you know you're really growing, getting better, changing? Because if you're not measuring, you're not actually executing. You're just getting busy. And busy does not create dreams. Clarity does. Measure your effort. Measure your wins. Measure your gaps. Let reality inform you. Because when you begin to function from what is, rather than what you think might be, everything shifts. Execution becomes more precise. Results accelerate. And you finally begin to move with purpose, not mere intensity. That's activity vs. impact. That's the difference between getting stuck and taking flight. One of the biggest errors people make when they're attempting to implement is believing being busy and being productive are the same thing. But let me tell you straight away, it isn't. Business is a trap. It seems like progress. It appears like effort. But really, it's simply motion without purpose. It's energy without potency. And that's the quiet assassin of dreams. Because while you're running around in circles getting 10 things done, the person who's doing the one thing is going to pass you. Quietly, consistently, efficiently, you don't get paid for being busy. You get paid for being effective, for how focused your actions are, for how well your time is being used towards your goal. Execution isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. It's about having a clear idea of where to direct your energy, your attention, your hustle, so you actually make progress. But if you're working 100 tiny things and not any of them are moving you towards your purpose, you're basically wearing yourself out for nothing. It's easy to fill your day with tasks that feel important but aren't, checking emails all day, taking meetings that go nowhere, starting a bunch of things and finishing none, staying busy from morning to night, but then looking back and realizing nothing actually got done. That's the difference between the average and the elite. The average confuse motion for progress. The elite know that real progress comes from clear priorities and deep focus. You've got to be able to say no to the wrong things, even when they're good looking, even when they're good, because good is the enemy of great. You only get so much energy in a day, so much mental real estate. And if you squander that on low impact activities, you've got nothing left for what really matters. That's why execution depends on clarity first and discipline second. You clear your head on what is important, and then you tunnel in with laser focus. You do not pursue everything. You pick smart. That is how success is built. And let's be honest, sometimes being busy is actually an excuse to not do the hard work, the uncomfortable work, the work that involves intense thinking, actual risk, or serious discipline. So we hide in business. We trick ourselves into believing we're grinding, but actually we're just dodging. And that's the risk. Because doing is never about what is comfortable. It's about what produces results. You must be willing to confront what counts, to cease doing what is easy and begin doing what is required. So ask yourself each day, what are the most important 2 things I must get done that actually propel me forward? Not 10, not 20, just 1 or 2. And then allocate your energy there first, prior to the distractions, prior to the low value activities, prior to the noise. Tackle what's most important. That's how you begin creating true momentum. That's how you begin piling true wins. And when you do that repeatedly, you'll find that success doesn't happen from doing all things. Success happens from doing the right things over and over and over, with purpose and precision. That's what makes executors, not spectators. Executors don't spend time being busy. They cut to impact. They focus. They simplify. They act with intention. You stop wearing busy as a badge of honor. Begin asking yourself, is what I'm doing right now bringing me closer to my goal or just keeping me busy? Undefined, because the reality is each minute you spend on the wrong thing is a minute taken away from what truly matters. Undefined, and when you then target that, when you then quit being busy and begin being effective, that's when you begin moving differently. Undefined, that's when you begin executing like a beast. And that's when your results become irrefutable.